Hey guys, welcome back once again. In this video, I am going to show you how to implement date range filter in AgGrid. Well, as you can see here, I have a simple AgGrid table, and on the top left corner, as you can see, I have two input field and both are date picker. So here one is for from, that means the starting date, and second is the to, that means ending date. Okay, so right now here let me select any date. So before doing that, here as you can see, here I have 9 Feb, 11 Feb, 10 Feb and 12 Feb. Okay, so now I am selecting here 10, and as you can see, I got here data 11 and 12. So 9 and 10 Feb data I am not getting anymore. So this is happening because it's comparing with all the dates and looking for greater than the current what date we have selected. So here we have selected 10 and we got all the data for 11 and 12, not including 10. Okay, and here right now if I select here 14, as you can see data remains same. So now let me select here 12. Okay, and as you can see here I am getting only one record because from 10 to 12 here we have only one record, which is 11, means here not including 10 and 12. So now let me refresh this page, and here let me select only two value. Okay, so here I selected 10, and as you can see right now I am getting only one record as a 9, and this is because it's gonna to give you all the record which is less than this time what you have selected. Okay, so here if I select only from, it will give you all the record which is greater than. If I select only two, it will give you all the record which is lesser than, and if I select both, all the record which is in between and give you. But what if this two value is greater than from? So in that case here I am going to give you one pop-up message at the top that this to value cannot be greater than from value. So here as you can see I have selected 8 Feb, and right now let me select here 7. So here as you can see from date should be lesser than to date, that means a starting date should be lesser than end date, and it makes sense, right? So now time for implementation. So let's jump to VS Code. So here as you can see I have created a state by using useState grid API, and this is for the storing the API of this AgGrid. And here I have this hard coded this row data, and here I have this column definition, and here default column definition, this flex one which is gonna to set with equal to 100% here. Okay, and here on grid ready function which is gonna to trigger once our grid will be rendered successfully on UI. And here in JSX I am returning this to header tag, and finally I am returning here AgGrid. I am passing this row data, column definition, default column definition, and on grid ready function. So this is how our table is currently looking. Okay, so now here I will take you through AgGrid documentation, and there I will show you something. You can find this link in description of this video as well. So here React data grid, and here floating filter. So now if you come down here we have couple of filter. As you can see here, age below 25, age above 30. So if I click here, automatically I will get all the record whose age is below 25. If I click on this, I will get all the record whose age is more than 30. So now here as you can see we have date options. So here I clicked on this, and now here as you can see this filter has been applied here. Okay, so after clicking on this, after this date I will get all the record. So now let's get into the implementation here, how they have implemented. So basically we are looking for here date filter. So here we have to pass one parameter filter as a AgDate column filter. So let me copy this, okay, and paste it here. So here we want date filter. Okay, and now let's go to the implementation of that function which is getting triggered on click of that button. Okay, so here for the date I am looking. Okay, so here as you can see we have this before 2012 and this is the function they wrote. Okay, so as of now what we will do is let's copy this function and let's understand this function completely in our code. So here I will get back and I pasted it here. Now let me tell you what this function is going to do. So here what we are doing is this grid API and get filter instance. Okay, so here date, and actually here we are creating the instance of this column. Okay, so now if you come back here and the way they are storing the grid API, let me show you. So on grid ready, okay, so where is that function? Okay, so on grid ready, so as you can see grid API contains param.api information, but in our case here what we are passing is here directly we are setting params completely, means we are not destructuring API here. That means in order to call this method here, what we have to do, we have to write grid API dot API. Okay, and we will pass this instance date, and this is the column name actually. So here as you can see we are using this as a column name. Okay, so here we have created the instance, so date filter component. Now we have to set model. So here model, and it is gonna to take 3 parameter. So first is the type, means whether it is gonna to be greater than or less than, or some string, means start with some value, those kind of. Okay, and here this is date, so we have to pass here date from and date to. So in case of date from, and here we are passing this less than value, we have to pass this data. Okay, and this can be null. And if we are passing here greater than, we have to pass this date from data, and in that case as well date 2 will be null. So if we are passing here in range, that means we have to pass here date from and date 2 as well. And after this date filter component model set, what we have to do is we have to call this function on filter change, and again here I will remove this here and I will call dot API. Okay, so now we need to call this function. So let's write const, and here let's write filter. Okay, or date filter, let's make it as date filter. Okay, let's copy it, and here as of now I will create a button which is gonna to trigger, this function is gonna to trigger on that. So here filter, and on click of that here I will call that function. So on click call this function. Okay, and here as you can see I am passing this date 9 Feb, this is the smallest date I have, and 12 is the greatest date I have. So here in order to check, what I will do is I will pass here this value as a 2, we are passing here less than, so here I will pass this value as a 12. Okay, so now let's save it and let's get back here. So now as you can see we have all the data, and if I click here as you can see I don't have anything. Okay, and this is happening because we have missed one thing. So now let's get back here, and for the date column filter we have to pass additional params, and that is the filter params, and we have to write some logic to make the comparison between the dates. Okay, so what I will do is let me copy this and I will walk you through this code. So here I will paste this one, and next I will copy the definition. So here I hope, yeah. So this is the date filter params. So let me copy this, okay, and get back here, and I will write this here. Okay, so nothing to worry about this. We will understand what is this. Well, so here the date what we are using is not /. Here we are using a minus. So I passed this, and now let's get back. Let me refresh and click here. So now as you can see, one date has been gone, means 12 record we don't have. We have 9, 11 and 10. Okay, so now here what if I will pass the value as a greater than. So here let me pass this as a greater than, and here I will set this value as a 10. So I should get all the record whose date is greater than 10. So here I clicked, and as you can see I got the 11 and 12th record. Okay, so now let's apply here in range. So in range, and here in this case I have to pass both value. So 2022, and here let's pass this value as a 13. Okay, so now let's get back, and here click on this. So as you can see I am getting 11 and 12. So now let's make it as a 12 here, and this is not included. So here I should get a single record, and here as you can see I am getting a single record. So now before main implementation, let me tell you what this function date filter params is doing. So here let's go to this function basically, and here as you can see the filter local date at midnight. So whatever the date you will select on the date picker, that means here whatever we are passing, that date here we will get as a this one, and this is the cell value we will get what the table have, means these are the value I will get in as a cell value. And again what here I am doing is I am doing assigning to date as a string, and I am checking if date equal to null. So don't do any check, return -1 from here itself. And if not, here I am converting this date into the 3 part based on the format what I have passed here. So here as you can see I am separating date and month by here minus, means hyphen. So here I am splitting based on that. So if I pass something like this format, like /, so in that case here I will use here / to split it. Okay, so here as you can see at the first position, means it is split is a function which is gonna to return a array. So here I will get a array, and it have 3 parts, so 0th and first and second. So at the 0th index as you can see here I will get this as a year, and at the first index I will get month, and at the last index I will get date. So here again I am constructing the cell date by using new date. So this is what here we are passing this day, and here month. So we will whatever month is we will subtract 1 because January start from 0, and here we are passing year. Okay, and now after constructing this date we are comparing this date with this date. So here as you can see we are doing the comparison, and if it's equal return 0, and here if this is less than return -1, or if the greater than return here 1. So based on this sorting will happen. So now we have understood why we are passing date filter params. Okay, so now let's get to the main implementation. So first of all here I don't need this button, so I will remove this, and here I need two input box. Let me call it as from here. So from, and here input type as a date. Okay, and let me copy and paste. So here 2. Okay, so now let's save it, and here let's go to the UI. So as you can see here, I have two date picker. Okay, so now let's define two state here. So first here a start date and set a start date, and here we will pass this initial value as a empty. Let's create the same and change this start date to end date. Now we need to get those value here. So now let's go to input field and handle the onChange event. So for that, here scroll down and here onChange and event, and here I will set the value to set a start date and e dot target dot value. Okay, so here it have to be same. So I copied and pasted it here, and it have to be int. Okay, what we need is it should get trigger on the onload and whenever we make any changes to this state. Okay, so for that, here what I am gonna to do is here I will write a use effect. So here use effect, and this use effect is basically gonna to trigger once any one of the value got changed from either of date. So here I will pass this dependency as a start date and end date, and now here let me do the console log to the value whatever I will get. So a start date comma end date. So now let's save it. Let's get back here, go to inspect console here, and now I selected this value, and as you can see I have, and here I selected 18, and now you can see I have both value. That means whenever we are making the changes, that use effect is getting trigger. Okay, so here we don't have to trigger this console log actually. So our intention is to trigger this complete thing. Okay, so let me copy this completely and cut everything from there and paste it inside this function. Okay, so right now let's try for less than, and here I don't have to hard code this value, so I will pass this one from a start date because I am looking for less than. So let it be here empty. Okay, so now let's get back there and see here. So let me refresh, and here as you can see it's saying that cannot read property of undefined reading API. Okay, so I hope here something went wrong. Okay, so here what will happen is use effect will trigger for the first type before this grid initialized, right? This grid will initialize once this edge grid will rendered, then this on grid ready will get trigger. So here I can write a condition: if grid API means not equal to null, okay, then only it have to execute this line. So here I will paste this inside. Okay, so now let's get back, and here as you can see I don't have that error anymore. So now let's select any value here. So I selected 10, and as you can see all the data is gone. So there is something wrong. So we are calling that. Okay, so here let me do one thing. So let me console log the date what we are getting. So console.log a start date. Okay, and now as you can see this is separated by hyphen. Okay, and here what I have written to split is forward slash, so that's why it's failing. So here now it's done, and right now let me refresh this, and here let me set this value to 10, and as you can see there is only one record 9th which is less than 10. Okay, so if I select here 11, as you can see I got 2 record. Okay, so it's working fine. Already I have shown you if I pass here greater than and in range how it will work. So now here what I am gonna to do is, in order to get this type I will write a condition. So here I will write get type, or get filter type. Okay, so basically what this get filter type will do is, here if we select only the from value, in that case it is gonna to return here greater than, so all the record which is greater than this from value you will get. If you select only the to value, this filter type as a less than, so you will get all the record which is less than, and if you select both it is gonna to make it as a in range. So here I can write a condition. So if a start date not equal empty and end date not equal to empty, so here in this case return in range. Otherwise, so else if here from is, that means a start date not equal to empty. Okay, so here return, that means here a start date is not empty, means we want to return greater than. So here greater than. Okay, and we can write the another one condition, else if, and here in date, so in date not equal to null, then return here less than. And now here let's call this function here instead of hard coding this value. So here in 2 we have to pass this 2 value, that means end value. So it's done. Now let's get back here. Okay, so now if I select here 10, as you can see I got the record 10 here. It's strange. I selected 11, I got the record 11. I should get all the record. So here as you can see I wrote this get filter type. I am not making call to this function. So here I need to do that. And now if I select here 10, and here as you can see I got this 11 and 12 record. Okay, so now here let me select this 2 value, let it be 12. So here as you can see I am getting only one record which is 11. Now let me select here 9. So here I am getting this 2 record. That means here this from and here this range is working fine. Okay, let me refresh here and let me select this value. So here I am selecting this 11, and as you can see nothing happened here, but as per our understanding it should return all the record which is less than 11, that means 9 and 10, but it's not doing that. So here as I said you earlier, if we are passing a single date here, we have to pass that end date in date from. So for that here I can use a ternary operator. So if there is a start date, then return a start date, otherwise return end date. Okay, so basically here what this is gonna to do, it will check. So if there is a start date, it will return a start date in that case. So here it might be that will be in range or greater than. Okay, so if this value is null, that means here we are trying end date. Okay, and it will return less than. So right now as you can see here it's 11, and here I got record for 9 and 10. So let me refresh here, and here let me select this 10. So I got all the greater value. If I select here 12, I got here in range value. Let me refresh. So now here if I select here 12 as a end date, here as you can see I got all the record which is less than end date. Okay, so it's working fine. So now let me select here date. So I selected 10 and I got 2 record, and now I am trying to select a date before a start date, so which may be 9, and as you can see here I am not getting anything, and obviously I will not get anything here because this end date have to be always greater than a start date, right? So here what I will do is I can write a condition. So here I will check if a start date is greater than end date. So in that case I will return a lot. A start date should be less, or a start should be before end date. Okay, and right now here I will set this end value to null, that means empty. So here I need to use set end date. I will set this value to empty. Okay, and I will write this in else condition. So here get this code and place it into else condition. Okay, so now let's get back, and here as you can see a start date should be before end date. Okay, so now let me refresh this. Here 3, and here I clicked, but there is a problem. Means whenever I do select for the first time I am getting this message. So here I need to write another one condition, that a start date and end date should not have to be null. So should not equal to null, and end date should not be equal to null, and here another one and condition. Okay, so here I am checking a start date should not have to be null, end date should not have to be null, and then it will evaluate this condition. Okay, so now let's get back here. Okay, so now let me select this 10, and here let me try to select 9, and as you can see a start date should be before end date, and if I click here as you can see it haven't set to the initial value. So let me check. So here set end date, and here I am setting this value to null, so definitely it should get reset. Okay, so here I have to pass this parameter value. Okay, and I need to pass here a start date, and for this one as well value end date. Okay, so now let's come back here and let's close this and have a look here. So 3, and I clicked on 2, and here as you can see this value is empty. So now if I select this value to 12 I got all the record, and if I right now try to select value 2 here, and if I click here as you can see this got reset. So in this video we have seen how to implement date range filter in AZGrid, and here I haven't cared about the styling, means a simple HTML I have used because I was completely focused on the implementation part, not on the designing. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have any doubt you can ask me in comment section. You can get the download link of this code in description of this video. If you like this content, do like, share and subscribe. See you in next video. Thanks for watching.